Have you ever been excited about something that made your voice smaller before you shared it? Have you ever had a strong opinion, then softened it so nobody would think you were difficult? Or have you ever had a big dream, then call it just an idea because saying it fully felt too exposed? Have you ever cried and immediately thought, I'm too emotional? Have you ever wanted more and then judge yourself for being ungrateful? Or have you ever walked into a room and felt yourself editing your energy before anyone even said something? And that is the cage. Not always built from one dramatic moment. Sometimes it's built from years of tiny self edits. A swallowed opinion, a smaller dream, a quieter laugh, a safer yes, or softer no. A version of you that is easier for the other people to handle, but harder for you to live with it. And today I want to talk about the woman who has been told directly or indirectly that she is too much, too ambitious, too emotional, too opinionated, too intense, too capable, too different, too full of life. And what I want to say very clearly here is that you were never too much. You may have just been surrounded by people who benefited from you being smaller. And if this speaks to you, comment uncaged below and I'll send you the 3 questions from today's practice to help you notice where you are shrinking and start reclaiming yourself. And please type live if you're watching this live or type replay if you're watching this later. So the strange thing is that this cage does not always look like a cage. Sometimes it looks like being responsible or being polite or being professional or being a good mother, a good partner, a good colleague, a good daughter, a good woman. It can look like I don't want to be difficult. I don't want to make it all about me. I don't want to ask for too much. I don't want people to think I'm selfish. I don't want to be seen as dramatic. I don't want to seem too ambitious in the wrong way. I don't want to take up much space. And slowly you start living by rules you never consciously choose. So do not be too visible, do not be too emotional, do not be too proud, do not be too honest, do not be too much, and do not ask for too much, do not need too much, do not become too powerful. But the painful part is this: many high achieving women do not only shrink because they are weak, they shrink because they learn how to survive. That's the only way they can survive. They're not weak. That's a survival. That's a survival mode, and they learn that being impressive was safe, but being fully expressed was risky, and that they learned that being useful was praised, but being honest could cause them belonging. And they learned that they carry a lot made them valuable, but needing support made them vulnerable. So they build a life around capacity, about holding everything, about managing everything, about understanding everything and carrying everything. And eventually their capacity became a cage. And write a cage in the comments if you know what it feels like to be praised for how much you can carry while secretly feeling trapped inside of it. And I was there, my capacity was used against me. So this is something personal. You see, there was a moment in my life when I had done so many things right. I got a degree. I had a good job, work, family, responsibilities. I was a mother of 3. And I have just finished my 3rd maternity leave. And I was appointed to a publicly exposed position. And on paper, it should have been a moment of recognition. a moment where my work, my experiences, my ability, my commitment, and my capacity were seen. But instead, something else happened. Some people tried to publicly discredit me. Information was given to the press in a way that suggested I was not suitable for the position because I was a woman with a family, with kids. I was a mother of three. And because of that, somehow my motherhood and my professional capacity were treated as if they canceled each other. They could not coexist. As if being mother made me less capable, as if ambition and motherhood could not live in the same woman, as if my capacity was not strength but a problem. And I still remember what that stirred in me. The old habit to shrink was very strong. The quiet voice came in and said, be smaller, do not speak loudly, do not be too visible, do not rock the boat, and maybe it's safer if you just soften yourself. And I think many women know that moment, maybe not publicly, but maybe not in the press, but or the exact or similar situations. But you know what it feels like when someone tries to make your fullness into flaw, your ambition into ignorance, or your emotion into instability, your motherhood into limitation, or strength into threat. And your capacity becomes something suspicious. And in that moment, I had to face a question. Will I believe their story about me? Or will I come back to my own? And put story in the comments if you have ever been or had to, if you ever had to choose between someone else's version of you and your own truth. And this is a lie many women have been sold. And that's it, that a strong woman carries everything quietly. She does not complain, she does not need much, she does not she stays composed, and she keeps the peace, gets everything done, and makes it look easy. She does not make people uncomfortable with her needs, her dreams, her anger, her grief, her ambitions, her truth. But that is not strength. That is a slow disappearance that society sometimes rewards. And because it is rewarded, it can be confusing. People praise you for being easy, for you feel unseen, or praise you for being capable, but you feel exhausted. They praise you for being strong, but you feel alone. And they praise you for carrying everything, but they never ask what it costs you. And this is how capacity becomes a cage, not because capacity itself it's bad, but capacity can be really beautiful. It's your ability to love, lead, create, hold, feel, build, understand, and move through complex things is not a problem. The problem is using your capacity against yourself. So using it to tolerate what that drains you, or use it to stay quiet when your truth wants to speak, or using it to carry what was never yours. Using it to perform strength while your real self waits behind the bars. Your capacity is not a cage. The cage is the rule that says you must use your capacity to disappear. And come in capacity if you are ready to stop using your strength against yourself. And I want to offer you a different way to see this. What if the part of you that feels too much is not the part that needs to be reduced? What if it is the part that needs better direction? Your passion does not need to disappear. It needs a place to move. Your ambition does not need to shrink. It needs to be rooted in truth, not proving. And your emotions do not need to be silenced. They need to be listened to without letting them drive every decision. And your voice does not need to be softened until it disappears. It needs to become clean, honest, and grounded. And your dreams do not need to become smaller. They need space, structure, and support. And this is what I mean when I talk about coming home to yourself. It's not becoming less, it's becoming more honest, more rooted, more able to hold your own fullness without shame. Not explosive, not performative, not proving, not fighting everyone, but no longer abandoning the full version of you just to be easier to approve of. And that's freedom, not freedom from responsibility, freedom from self erasure, of self erasure. And I want to give you a small practice today, not a dramatic overall, not a grand declaration, just three small keys. Notice, pause, and reclaim. So, first step is to notice where you shrink. So, start watching for the moment where you are about to say yes when your body says no, the moment you swallow your an opinion, the moment you hide your excitement, the moment you downplay your success, the moment you make your dreams sound smaller, or the moment you over explain so nobody thinks you are difficult, or the moment you make your need sounds like a joke. And that matters because the moment you can see the cage, you are no longer fully inside of it. The second is pause, and that's pause before the alt response. So do not try to change everything immediately, just pause, breathe, and the pause is powerful because before the pause, the old pattern runs automatically. So what you want to do is to soften um, and to notice it, you know, not to apologize, not to explain, but just stay quiet and observe. The pause is the moment when you have a choice. You can ask, is this my truth or my training? Am I responding from clarity or from fear of being too much? And would I say this if I was not trying to stay acceptable? And the third step is to reclaim one small piece. So choose one small act of reclaiming yourself for this week, not 10, just one, and say one honest sentence, let's say in a meeting, or set one small boundary, or let yourself celebrate one win without shrinking it, or take one walk without your phone, ask for one thing you need, share one dream without calling it silly, and let your voice be 1 degree more honest. And that is how a cage opens. Not all at once, but with one small key turning in the lock. Okay. And I want to say this very plainly. You're not too much because you have dreams. You're not too much because you feel deeply. You're not too much because you want more. You're not too much because you're a mother or a professional. You're not too much because you have opinions. You're not too much because you can hold a lot. You're not too much because your life cannot fit inside someone else's comfort zone. And you do not have to become less of yourself to make other people feel more comfortable. That's not love. That is humility. And that's not strange. That is self erasure. And you're allowed to stop that. Maybe your capacity was never the problem, really. Maybe the problem was that you were taught to use it as a cage, to hold everything in, to carry what was not yours, to stay impressive instead of honest, to be praised instead of known, to be strong instead of free. And if you're ready to notice where you shrink and begin opening that cage, comment uncage below or send me uncage in DM, and I'll send you the 3 questions from today's practice, 3 steps. And if you're tired of proving, shrinking, overgiving, carrying, performing strength, and still feeling like somehow you're not enough, I have free resource linked below that can help you start seeing the deeper patterns behind that feeling. And if fear of judgment is part of why you keep making yourself smaller, if you're afraid of being seen as too much, selfish, difficult, emotional, ambitious, wrong, or not enough, there is also my gentle $7 course below that can help you begin releasing the fear of judgment and shame. Both links are in the comments below. And if this live helped you feel a little less ashamed of your fullness, subscribe because I'm going live for 30 days. So for today, remember this: you were never too much. You were just never meant to live inside a cage. Thank you for being here today and welcome home.